Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
DOD45. This is the DOD45 Show, drawing over discussions 45 minutes with a special guest. Welcome. I'm your host and resident artist, Tai of ArtByTai, and with my co-host, Adrian Taiwali'i, we're having conversations with people who I admire and am inspired by. On this episode, I'll set a 45-minute timer, put my pen to the paper, and we'll learn about our guest through an interview-style discussion. So stay right here with us to experience some laughs and maybe even learn a thing or two. DOD45. Hello, Earthlings.
People of Earth, how are you?
Hello, Adrian.
Yo, Adrian, we did it.
Welcome to the DOD45. Hey, welcome. Welcome, people. Welcome to you people in the live chat. We're enjoying having you. And if you're not in the live chat, then you won't hear this message. But I'm telling you, join us for the live chats. They're fun. Okay?
With a capital F.
Don't be a dickhead. Join the live chats. Watch the show. Watch the episodes when they drop live. Come on.
People have work sometimes.
Oh, F your work. Let's do this all for the DOD45 show. Welcome to the DOD45 show, where you get to watch me draw while we have a discussion with a special guest. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Our guest tonight is Dylan Owen.
Hey yo, this paper is my Bible, it's pen in my hand. I used to pray for my survival, now I'm sketching my plans. And if it's safe to say my savior is this notebook, I level my stance. I'm sending 26 letters with stamps. I understand you've had a better fate. Forget it, get it, go and get your center straight. I'm getting straight with my demons, watch me demonstrate. I've never been afraid of having fears. I know this life can...
He'll be joining us here in just a second. But quick shout out to some of our affiliates like Hob Sauce, Handsmade Collective, Grow Haven, Speakerface, Brim of the World, and of course, Strange Famous Records. Also, Mr. Dibs. Thanks everybody for joining us. I said that probably like the sixth time. Well, so I've sort of but taken out the Sophie's Choice questions. I just do one at the first of an interview and one at the last for our guests. But I was going to ask you a couple of Sophie's Choice real quick at the top.
If we can bore people even more.
Let's bore people even more.
Okay.
Iron Lack or Iron Man?
Iron Lack. Sticky, but...
Oh, surprising.
What am I going to do with Iron Man?
Iron Lack is such sticky spray paint.
I can do things with Iron Lack. Not like I'm a graffiti artist, but I can do things with it. I remember the Roanoke color was one of my favorites.
Oh, they did have cool colors, though. Mm-hmm. Speaking of spray paint, what about Rust-Oleum or Liam Neeson?
Rust-Oleum. I also can do a lot with Rust-Oleum. I don't know who Liam Neeson is.
He's the actor from Taken. He's that older guy.
I'll stick with Rust-Oleum. I already have an old guy. Serves me fine.
Whitney Houston or Nigel Houston?
Who's Nigel Houston?
He's the professional skateboarder.
Nigel.
All right. Oscar de la Hoya or De La Soul?
Oh, now that one's hard because you can always use a boxer in your life. But that one's tough.
I'm super impressed that you knew who Oscar de la Hoya is.
I was listening to De La Soul the other day. And there's a lot of skits.
Couple more. Okay. Conan O'Brien or Conan the Barbarian?
Barbarian.
Really?
You know how much I love comedy.
40-year-old virgin or virgin suicides?
Ugh, pass. I don't like either one of those.
Okay. Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon?
Kimmel. But Fallon's got good shoes usually.
He's a snappy dresser. Seth Meyers or Seth Rogen?
Is that the guy with the podcast?
Which
the
one?
Controversial podcast?
Which guy?
Rogan.
Nope, that's Joe Rogan.
Seth Rogen is the stoner.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen or who?
Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers. Pass.
Joe Rogan or Seth Rogen? I have so many.
Seth Rogen.
I have thousands.
I can't. I don't think
I'm done though.
Hey, I can't do Joe Rogan. I don't think.
I've got so many of them.
Sorry, people.
I'll use some of them at the top of the episodes with you. Hey, do you want to hear a little bit of useless information?
Yeah.
You know the term peter out?
Mm-hmm. Fire out. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to know what possibly the origin of it is?
Sure.
And I'm only bringing it up because today I was posting something.
graphic?
I said I petered out. Huh?
Is it
No.
like you got your
What would you guess the origins of peter out
your junk
means?
was hanging out?
No, because why would that mean
I don't know.
I'm tired?
Peter,
I'm
your
tiring
peter's out.
Why would that mean tired? I'm tiring out
I
now.
don't.
I'm losing steam.
Okay. Peter's the steamboat.
No, a theory is that it refers to the apostle Peter. And the theory is that Peter's enthusiastic support of Jesus quickly
Tapered off.
tapered off, and he denied knowing Jesus 3 times during the night after Jesus' arrest.
People should pay attention to that.
Pretty interesting, I thought. Yeah. Oh, hey, all right. We're just waiting for our guest to get into the room, so we're having a little bit of a chit chat. But recently, Adrian and I were at Ernestine and Hazel's in Memphis, Tennessee. That place is pretty fantastic. It's a dive bar. It's like one of the most famous dive bars in the country.
It's very divey.
It's super divey and it's super rad. And we used to do this art festival in Memphis that was on that same street. And our booth used to always be set up right in front of Ernestine's and Hazel's. And when we first were doing the shows, I didn't even realize the history of that place.
Yeah.
All the years we would be in front of it, people were going in and out of it. I was like, wow, people really love this dive bar.
You did, though. You know.
I did not the first couple of years. Anyway, we recently went just as patrons
Yeah, it was nice. It's always very haunted.
So here's some things that I do know about it. It was owned by 2 cousins. They had turned it into a cafe. It was a brothel in the 60s and 70s or 60s.
And I think it was on the Green Book.
Yeah, it was a place that black folk could go and play. Well, I don't
patio. That's
what
the
okay.
Cook told me.
Well, yeah. So what I had learned recently is one of the cousins that owned the place, Ernestine's husband was a promoter. His name was Sunbeam. He opened up a place, a club called Club Paradise. And that's where people like B.B. King, Tina Turner, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, Bo Diddley, Sam Cooke, Chuck Berry, Jackie Wilson, all those guys, that's where they would play. And after the shows, they would go over to Ernestine and Hazel's and eat and hang out and head upstairs.
Soul burger.
Have a soul burger and have some soul sex. But it's cool when you're in that place because they haven't done much to it.
Oh no.
and you can, at least for myself, you can feel the spirits of all these legendary people. And like, I don't know. I don't remember where I was headed with it.
It's nice that they haven't bougied it up. Although Nate's bar upstairs was new.
Yeah, so you used to not be able to go upstairs, or you could, but you wouldn't really go upstairs. There was nothing up there. But they did put a little bar up there. This dude,
basically nothing up there, but
this old guy just sits there and charges you big money for shitty drinks.
I was like, wait a minute, that's just vodka. Okay.
Well, we got to go hang out with some art friends there, and it was cool. I really enjoyed it. I don't know. I don't know.
Shout out
I really
Kenny and Jenny.
Shout out Kenny and Jenny. Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm a little off because these headphones are weird to me. I'm sure I'll get used to it. But hey, here's a thought. For people that are in the live chat, if you're bored, you can chat, and we can. And Adrian and I will also be chatting on our phones. Or if you're bored, you can
just tell us to keep shutting up. No, we can't because it's pre-recorded.
Yeah, we're recorded, but we are also in the live chat talking along. So if you don't like what we're talking about here, you can start your own conversation in the live chat.
Yeah.
But it's better to engage in what we're talking about. All right, let's go. Let's move on. Our guest today is Dylan Owen. He first came on my radar because I saw he was touring with Chesky a few years back. In fact, Dylan was Fake 4 label manager for quite a few years. And I think he now works with Bottles to the Ground, and that's Co-Defendant's label.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned that from Chesky because I was
even had Co-Defendants on here.
I know we're there. So I think we're going to record with them sometime in January. They're currently, at the time of this recording, they're currently playing in Florida. So like I said, a couple years ago, I discovered him because I saw he was playing with Chesky. I'd check in on his music from time to time. And recently I heard his Today Was Once Someday track off his latest mixtape.
I keep on running till my young bones rot. My lungs go pop. My band's last drum roll stops. It's a new day today. I'm heating up where the sun's so hot. We don't need to meet our heroes. We become those. Watch till audiences rock with it. Start moving their moccasins. The music finds you. You just need to stay on top of it. This focused and present, I could skip over you legends. I wore high tops so I could stand an inch closer to heaven.
That just came out, and he has a lyric in there about being Lebanese. But then I started catching he was mentioning a lot of Lebanese, and it had my mind running because I had this meal and I did the show with the guy with this podcast, Lunch with Lebaneser. So it was like my first long time discussion with someone who was Lebanese. Anyway, I just got my mind racing and I was like, oh shit, you know what? I remembered I reached out to Dylan about being on our show way back then. And so I circled back around and got in touch with him, and now we're here. Now we're here having a discussion with him. So here's some things that I can tell you about Dylan. By the way, there's always a chance I'm going to mispronounce things or get things wrong in this intro, but you have to forgive me for that. I don't know everything, but I'm certainly trying to learn. So he's got tons of music out there. He's got a dedicated fan base. His 2012 EP, Keep Your Friends Close, that was a super successful album, and I think that's what started him on this path. Caught the eyes and ears of a lot of people, a lot of buzz around Billboard. He had a couple EPs out before that, like Senioritis.
Kiss my ass goodbye if you can't leave the past behind, you feel me? So I guess that now I've been growing stronger cause of my broken places. Even if my soul's been sewed from scars left by an old acquaintance, I try, but I can't leave you behind like footprints in the driveway pavement. I just wanna find some time to finalize all my mistakes. When I saw the
that was from 2010, and How to Stay Young in 2009, but I think Keep Your Friends Close is the one that put him on the map.
I love maps.
You do. How do you stay young? Maybe I'll ask.
We need to start drinking baby's blood.
Shh, don't say that shit when we just talked about cookies. All right, I'll ask him about how to stay young.
Just kidding.
In 2015,
babies.
He dropped the There's More to Life album, the title track on that. That's a catchy one.
More to life than being pissed. You weren't born as someone else, somewhere else. You're truly alone on your own and nothing helps. So whatever we need to change, we need to see it soon. There's more to life than being me, more to life than being you. Yeah, life goes on, yeah, it might go wrong, but keep on moving, kid, our time gon' come. Maybe we'll wake up tomorrow when our lives are done.
From his 2019 album, Holes in Our Stories, he's got a heart grabber on there called Mourn.
My grandpa always had the worst posture, and he's still been over backwards for us. If he could see my lack of work ethic now, he would probably say I'm asking for it. The angels came to take him out of Orange County, to finally tell him that his battle's over. Well, I'm convinced that not every last goodbye that we have has to be a tragic moment. Now that we're older, no one's here to live.
I like little heart grabber songs. From his 2022 album, Take Care of Yourself, I really dig the track, The Best Ships.
I wanna sail with you. Though I hope they fall asleep, I'll stay with
my crew. Without my crew, I would've walked the plank. Without my friends, would've gone off course and sank. Now I'm captain of my soul and I die to live. Me and my friends roll deep in our pirate ship.
He's releasing 4 mixtapes in the coming days. And the first of them is his most recent. It's called Do Before You Die mixtape, which was just released this year. Also, before we get to him, check out F Virtue, his single called Passports. That features Dylan Owen, Watsky, and Chesky. It's a cool song.
I bet it is.
Yeah, it's a really cool song. It's a good lineup of rappers.
Wrote another song about a sinking ship. Perfect metaphor, but no one really got it. That's okay as long as I'm alive, I stay rowing.
No, I'm never looking back on this. I ripped up our roots and leaves and limped from that brutal scene to lift up the future me and swim to the tune of friendships that got me beneath the ditches that we dug and all my missed opportunities.
All right, let's do it. Let's get to him. Let's have a discussion with our guest today, Dylan Owen. We'll be right back after this guest announcement.
Hey, what's up, podcast world? This is AWOL1, And one of my favorite shows is DOD45 with ArtByTai. And today we have a special guest.
This is Dylan Owen. You're watching the DOD45 Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
DOD45.
Well, hello. Welcome to the DOD45 Show. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, of course. All right. Well, let's get right into it. For the next 45 minutes, I'm going to draw you a picture while we chop it up. Some of the themes that I'm putting into the drawing are a Komodo Dragon.
Okay.
That's one of your favorites. Why the Komodo Dragon? Any particular reason?
I think when I was a kid, I just liked how they looked. And I just kind of thought they were badass. They eat deer, and I grew up in an area with a lot of deer, so I thought that was cool. Yeah, it's kind of like, seems like a dinosaur.
Yeah, they grow pretty massive, right? Like alligator size.
They're massive.
Yeah. I think they're one of the scariest creatures there are out there.
Are they poisonous too?
Yes.
Or
and they're ruthless. They just keep biting you until eventually you fall down.
Oh wow!
With
Look at
enough
you.
poison.
You got all this Komodo Dragon.
Horrible. They're so scary because can you imagine being lost on an island and these things are just slowly walking behind you and getting your ankles every once in a while until eventually you fall down and they eat you.
I think they run fast like a lizard too, right? Don't they? I don't know. You know, like a lizard moves real quick. I just wonder if they run like that.
I don't even know too much about them. I'm just so cool. Like a fan of the general idea, and I think they're endangered too, and they live on like remote islands.
Yeah, that's it was cool. I've never drawn one, so I was glad that you said that you like those. Also, it turns out a lot of people really love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I did too, but I'm 47 years old, so I only really watched the original cartoon. When you think of Ninja Turtles, what era of Ninja Turtles was your?
Well, maybe we're thinking of the same cartoon. I think of the cartoon from the late 90s. The one I was really into definitely had that like 90s animation look that I know has been like hard for people to replicate. But I didn't really follow once it got into like the more 3D looking illustrations and stuff. And I'm sure that stuff's great, but I was really into the cartoon and the figures too. I was like a huge figures guy. And I also used to love to draw. Maybe I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you like on DM or anything, but that's why I have so much respect for like your art and all visual art and everything, because that was my first love before music was drawing. So
do you still draw at all?
I dabble a little bit. Yeah, now it's kind of like maybe it takes the form in like graphic design and stuff, but I felt like there was a level I just couldn't get past. And then, I kind of like lost the motivation. But I was really into it for a while.
And you keep your focus on the music. It's hard to try to focus on both.
Yeah.
And then you like the beluga whales. So, beluga, is that how it's pronounced? So I put them in a little balloon here. I don't know.
That's cool. I like that.
And then you also mentioned that you like typography. My son's actually just learning about typography, but I wrote in here Carpe Diem because you also said that you're a fan of
Dead Poet Society. I love it, man. That is awesome. I love it.
And I'm doing it in kind of old English letters. Does that consider typography? I don't really know a whole lot about it, but it's about fonts, right?
Yeah, just like I like design and fonts and stuff, and it really it's like I wish I could just draw, but that's kind of like my own little version of it now is like Photoshop and all that.
Well, all right. That's what I'm going to draw for you. So we'll get into it. I'll start the timer. It'll be a 45-minute timer, and we'll see how far we can get. Amazing. And while we do that, we'll have a discussion with you and see what we can learn about our guest today, Dylan Owen. All right, here we go. Timer set. Let's break the ice with Sophie's choice question.
Okay.
Would you rather spend an all-nighter with Bob Dylan or Dylan Penn?
Bob Dylan. I would have to go with. Yeah, I am a big Bob Dylan fan. I'm not like a historian on him the way some people are, but when I was a kid, my dad burnt me a CD of some acoustic versions of the Blood on the Tracks EP, and I'd listen to that a lot. So Bob Dylan for sure.
I would figure so. You played the guitar, right?
Yeah, I play guitar. Yep.
Yeah, because you got a lot of that, a lot of acoustic guitar in your music. So I would have figured you'd be a Dylan fan.
Yeah, and I love his lyrics too. Some of the recordings and production are like, it's an era thing that sometimes it's hard for me to digest, but when I can really digest the lyrics on like A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, like that song, I'm just blown away. And and then you can also see how he influenced like everyone who came after him too.
Yeah. He was great. What's that? What's the lyric? The C. Slaughter lyric, Adrian? This is something. Not Dylan Goes Electric.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Yeah, shit, I can't remember. Oh,
that was controversial when he went electric.
It was, man. It's funny how like people were angry.
Yeah, that's amazing. People care enough about your art that they're angry that you're like plugging in a guitar.
And they were pissed. Do you know, Adrian, are you familiar with who Dylan Penn is? I think she's actually...
No, I have no idea who
I actually don't know who that is either.
It's Sean Penn's daughter. She's quite the looker, but I'm pretty sure she was named after Bob Dylan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think most Dylans are.
Yeah. Well, were you?
I'm actually Dylan Thomas, the poet, is who I'm named after. My little brother's name is Thomas.
So they were hardcore.
Yeah.
Poet lovers, your parents.
Yeah. I guess just Dylan Thomas, and I don't know really why him specifically. I guess my dad must have been a big fan. So,
Well, okay. Let's start with we'll start getting into the other questions and we'll build an arc to the episode. Cool. Bob Dylan is a good answer, by the way. The arc will starts with, where do most of your childhood memories take place? Or in other words, where did you grow up, or where do most of your memories as a child come from?
Definitely upstate New York, a few hours north of the city. I don't know. Have you all ever been up there?
We haven't been north of the city. No, not yet.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's why I was asking, because it's very rural up there. It gets very rural very fast. So I grew up in a few different little small town areas up there, and my childhood memories are very like just country feeling, like playing out in the fields, and we lived at my grandma's for a little bit. She had these rescue dogs and stuff, so really kind of like imaginative childhood there. And that was a super small town. I think it's like 1,000 people or something.
Wow.
And then after that, we lived, or that was second actually. Before that, we lived in this little city, Middletown, which is like a smaller city kind of in our area. And yeah, so I don't know, just kind of all around there, like small town neighborhood.
Is upstate New York still very... well, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, did a lot of people move out of the cities and start occupying that space up there?
Upstate
New York.
Yeah, I think that shift has always been happening. I think recently, the last like 5 years or so, it's been happening even more. Where we lived, I would say, is like right beyond where people, like nobody was commuting from our town or anything to the city. But it's not so far upstate that it's like Syracuse or Buffalo or anything. So it's kind of, just a small town area. Not super distinct, I think, from like a lot of the US. So, and probably even like the Midwest and everything. Yeah. So that's where a lot of my childhood memories take place, like in those small towns, and then also in Middletown.
Rad. Did you go into the city a lot?
Definitely not a lot, but we did go in. Yeah, like I knew this story would come up, but when I was in the 9th grade, I went into the city to see Sage Francis do this. It was a Page versus the Stage thing where Sage was doing raps a cappella as poetry, and then a poet named Jeffrey McDaniels was doing reading poetry. And I went into the city like to see that, for example, in the 9th grade. And that was like a big deal to me to travel down there.
Yeah.
How did you travel alone? Like on a bus?
I went with, it was me, my girlfriend, Molly, and my dad went down.
Oh, okay.
How fun.
Yeah, it was
that's
fun.
Awesome. Oh, where do we find you at now? Like where are you?
Oh, I'm in LA now as of a year ago. Yeah. So I lived in New York my whole life and then at some point I moved to the city and I was there for a while. And then a year ago, I finally made the jump out here to, try to like meet more people with my music, collaborate more, get songs recorded and produced more easily.
How do you like LA?
I like it. I hate to be like a transplant who would hate on it or anything. I think the things that I don't love about it yet are like, it's in my hands to utilize my access more. Cause I guess what I'm getting at, like, I feel a little isolated because I'm up in the valley. So I'm like, it's like I got to drive down into the city a bit. I feel like I'm almost the equivalent of living in like Astoria or something in New York. So a lot of people are down or like on the east side. And I want to start having people over here more to record and do sessions and work on music. But I like it. It's been great. I think I'm like still looking to really find my place here though.
Yeah, it's so different. It's such a different kind of place, but you'll figure it out.
It's whatever. It's cool. But I mean, I lived in New York before this. So that's like nothing compares in my mind.
Yeah. And they're so different. They're just different. It's just very suburban style. I don't know where I'm going.
I feel like I'm living in the suburbs here.
Yeah, and that's just so different than living in the city.
Completely.
Did I read somewhere you did a TED talk?
A TEDx talk, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what a TEDx talk is. Is that like the same thing, like a version of it?
Yeah. It's just like a version of it in like I did it in my town that I grew up in, so they're kind of in more like local areas, and it's like an indie TED talk kind of.
Yeah, that's cool. What were you speaking on?
So, they basically a guy approached me who works at my old high school, and he was like, "Hey, we want you to come do this." And it was actually quite an interesting experience. There was like a lot of prep that led up to it, and we had a lot of meetings, and basically they left it in my hands for what I wanted to talk about. And I wanted to talk about my music in some way that, I don't know, would be like interesting, I guess, to other people. So what I talked about is I'm also just like excited for this interview because I feel like I have so many wacky stories that people don't know about me just from like seeing me online. But when I was younger, I had a manager at a major label who found me on YouTube, and it was this whole crazy situation where they flew me out to LA, and I had a meeting with this big executive guy, and the TED Talk is about that and how much that meeting was built up in my head, and it wasn't really like a real thing at the end of the day. It kind of like made me really reinforced my feeling of wanting to be independent, and so that's what the TED Talk's about.
So it turned out to be a fake ordeal, or just didn't live up to the hype that you were imagining it was going to be.
Yeah, didn't live up to the hype. Like I thought this was, I don't know. I thought it was like, my moment, like you see in a movie or something.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of knew deep down that it wasn't, but I wanted it to be because I was like, okay, that's cool, the experience in life. And then, when I got there, I mean, this guy, I just feel like he was like, just didn't really care what I was saying or talking about.
How do you respond to stuff like that happens to you? Do you bum out for a little while, or do you immediately go? Does it give you like more energy to press even harder?
Immediately gives me energy, to be honest, because the stuff that I'm a fan of, and like the reason why I wanted to start making music is a lot of the scene that like you feature on your show, and that I feel like the music industry still has like entirely overlooked the scene kind of, and I always feel like revitalized by that. I'm like, oh, like I don't know, like I'm happy and fulfilled and energized by like the underground stuff. That's awesome. So it usually motivates me.
Well, and becoming when was your first, like, not first, you toured with Chesky for a little while, and just seeing that kind of Chesky grind. How far into your career was that when you toured with Chesky?
It felt like it had already been like a lifetime, but that was when we toured was probably 2019. Yeah, 2019. but I met Chesky in, I think 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, because that dude is a grind horse. Like that dude grind. That guy plays more shows and works so hard at what he does more than more than anyone I know.
Oh yeah, the grind level, but also just like his art and his musicality it's on another level. And to me, it's like it's something like for the rest of my life I'll aspire to be on that level. Like he truly is. He's amazing, and he's also just like family to me.
So. He's great. I always tell people, like, if you ever see Chesky's name on a postcard or something where he's playing in your town, just go, because whether there's 5 people in the crowd or 5,000, he's going to give you the same energy, and like it's unreal.
It's unreal. There's truly nothing like it. And yeah, I've been to so many Chesky shows at this point in my life. And it's actually cool because the first time I was just going with a friend, a rapper named F Virtue, this guy Will from New York. I don't know if you know him, but this is how I met Chesky. F Virtue's like, oh, let's just go to this show. My friend is performing. And so I didn't know any of Chesky's music or videos or anything online. And so I got to experience him live first. And I was so fascinated and blown away too by like the different elements. He was rapping and then playing the guitar, and I was just like, what is this? What am I watching? Like I was so intrigued, and yeah, it's like set off this crazy chain of events. So
awesome.
I love when that happens.
Yeah.
I love when you have this expectation to go see some other dude or people, and then the person who comes on first is, you're like, I don't even remember the show I went to see. All I remember is the opener.
Yeah, that's a good experience.
Such a good feeling. Yeah, it's such a good way to find music too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you've had a lot of that. You've opened for a lot of people. You have your own career now, but yeah, you've opened for a lot of people, and I imagine a lot of people's first discovery of you are through those. That's a great avenue to do it. That F Virtue song is fantastic. The one you did with Watsky and Chesky. That's a cool. Yeah. It's a cool track.
Thank you.
Yeah. Passion. I think it's called Passport.
Yeah. That was a funny one, man. I think F Virtue, I think I was on the song maybe, and I didn't even know Watsky or Chesky was going to be on it. Like people got kind of added step by step. But Will and I, we were living a few blocks away from each other in New York City. So we were hanging a lot back then. Like I even played guitar on one of his tracks, I think. I recorded some vocals for him. Like, yeah, I would always go to his apartment and we would nerd out about indie rap stuff, and he would just tell me so many things that were fascinating to me because I grew up mostly like watching it from the outside, and I feel like he was at the shows, he was in the scene a lot more.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a real cool track. I brought it up in the intro, so
cool.
People got to hear a clip of it.
Nice.
What's your main drive?
Just what motivates me in general?
Yeah.
I think probably to make sense of my own feelings and like express empathy, I guess, for other people who I recognize myself in them a little bit. Like I want there to be like a sense of understanding, I guess, for maybe ordinary emotions and life experiences that you don't normally hear expressed in music, and but that like I think they're valid to like dive deeply into. Yeah.
Are you currently in mode at the part of your life or the age that you're at? Are you in the mode of where you're teaching people with your words, or are you still in the mode of where you're learning from your own words? Like when you're writing out music, are you learning for yourself still, or do you feel like you've reached the level now where you're potentially teaching people?
Fascinating question. I think when I'm actually challenging myself and like actually writing well, then I'm learning from it, and I'm learning about myself, about my style, everything. And yeah, I think the teaching stuff can sometimes, it could feel like I'm just phoning it in or something, you know?
Right.
Like it's easy to, especially like when the music, I'm not sure like which songs you have or haven't heard, but some of it's more like inspirational, motivational types of language. And I find that that's the best when it's like coming from a place that's challenging me, I guess.
Yeah, where you're all
actually-
learning together. Yeah, because there are a lot of the songs, not a lot, but I guess I'm trying to think of what album. The one that was in 2000. Well, let me ask you this: the album that you dropped in 2012, the one that Keep Your Friends Close.
Yeah.
You then in 2022 released the Keep Your Friends Close, I Keep Mine. What's the story there? Is it the same? Are there the re-releases, re-recordings, additional?
So here's the story. So that Keep Your Friends Close in 2012 was a mixtape, and this was like the blog era of hip hop, like Chance the Rapper and all those people. And I had a manager who he's like one of my best buds to this day. And he was pretty involved in that scene. I didn't even know about music blogs or anything. And he was like, man, I could get your music on this stuff. So basically Keep Your Friends Close was a free mixtape that was released on the music blogs. And about half of the tracks used samples. Like there was like an Ingrid Michaelson sample and Simon and Garfunkel, like a bunch of other things. And people have always asked me like, oh, could you please put those on streaming services? And so what I did for the 10-year anniversary is I recreated the samples and then pressed it to vinyl. So that finally those songs are on streaming services with like recreated versions. And then also it was on vinyl. So that's the story of it was a 10-year anniversary.
I figured, because it's a significant time change as far as even what you've accomplished in your career or even what's happened in music from 2012 to 2020.
Oh yeah.
So I figured it had something to do with like when you released that, who knew you had no idea really what was in store. And
well, that's I don't know what, how to whatever preface it, but something I think is important context, I guess, if like, cause I'm assuming you hadn't heard of me until like probably recently, right?
Well, I had heard of you when you went on tour with Chesky. That was where I first discovered your music.
Cool.
And then I would check in with you, here and there, but I didn't know a whole lot of it. But I remember Chesky posted something. This must have been maybe 4 years ago. When was it? When did you say that was? 2016?
2019.
Yeah. It was right around then. And then I would check in every once in a while, see what was going on. But yeah, I don't know it through and through. But yeah, I would.
No. I was just curious because it's always interesting, like when at what timeline, where in the timeline somebody comes in. But basically, I feel like I've been doing this like my whole life. Like I was releasing songs on MySpace back in like I think 2008 was probably my first like. Yeah.
I just look at you and I think you're really, really young, and there's no way you could have been on MySpace.
That's the thing.
How old are you? Can I ask how old you are?
Yeah. I'm 33.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I was thinking you were like my nephew's age.
What's your
so I'm like,
age?
this
He's like
isn't-
28.
23.
Okay,
23.
Yeah.
24.
I always shave like before I do like videos or interviews or anything, and I can't really even grow.
Okay, so that makes more sense because when you're talking like 10-year anniversary, and I'm really bad at math, but I'm trying really hard to like figure out. Like,
No, it's
but okay.
I think there's that. I look young, but I was doing this very, very young.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think between 8th and 9th grade was my first upload on MySpace. And
MySpace uploads. It's funny.
yeah, it is. It is funny. And
but hey, that's pretty cool that you were there, and you know.
Yeah, it was a cool time that MySpace. That was one.
It just came and went like super fast. It seemed like.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, there were a lot of things that I think are interesting about it, and also like similar now to social media in a way, like the way trends are coming back. But I was really young then, starting to release music, and I would discover like so much stuff through MySpace. And I think I was already a fan of Sage and Strange Famous at this time, but yeah, just like a lot of underground hip hop. Nujabes, the producer, like discovered his music on there. A lot of it just clicking around, and I think also I was younger, but following the music scene because I have an older brother who's a few years older than me. So I always felt like I was like hanging with the older kids a little bit and hearing their music that they were into. So
yeah, what an interesting time to start making music. But that's the thing with all music. When, like you said, when people come on to, or start coming on to your music, it's their first time experiencing it. And if you've been doing it forever, it's weird to come across people who are like, "Oh yeah, you're just starting out, man. This is awesome." You're like, "No, I've been on the grind for like 20 years, man."
I didn't even mean it that way, man.
I didn't think you did. No, but I'm just saying.
But more of, I actually realized I left off. I didn't even finish my thought. But what I wanted to say is that I've been doing it a long time, but there were some serious pauses in between my albums. So like in 2010. Senioritis came out. I was a senior in high school. And then 2 years went by before I released that mixtape. And then 3 years went by before I released anything. And then 4 years went by before I released anything else after that. So it's like, if you could condense it all, it's really only been like, I don't know, 6 years or something. But there were these massive gaps in between where I was kind of like lost in my own, both like personal stuff and like creative challenges.
Sure. Yeah. Did you have an absolute? The problem with like a DIY, and especially if you're, I'm thinking about like hip hop and underground hip hop at that time. There's not there wasn't a playbook, so you can't curate like, okay, I've got to make it to this level. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. I got to do all these things there wasn't really a playbook for it. So you're kind of like flying by the seat of your pants. What's the next move? How, sort of deal.
Yeah. I mean, my thing's always been like, I really want the music and the art to come out like exactly how I want it to come out. And because it's very DIY how these songs are being made, there's a lot of like, I don't know, challenges, I guess, in doing that. Like, just to give a specific example, let's say like we record a guitar part and we love that part, but it's like slightly out of tune. And then we're trying to add the other instruments and they're like not matching up. Like just little things like that over the years that have slowed things down. And the biggest one is my lyrics and my lyric writing, and me, in my opinion, taking too long to write them. And yeah, so I have a kind of like weird writing process, but yeah, there's no rule book. And also, I guess, to get the art, when you're DIY and you have like zero budget, to get the art to come out how you want, and then worrying about promoting it after that, it can definitely lead to like some serious delays.
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably the good space that we may be in for DIY artists is, though it's now you really literally can record an entire album out of your bedroom at the cost of a cell phone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it's inspiring.
I also feel like, I don't know if it's me or everyone, whatever, but I've come around mentally on like things. I used to stress so much about like mixing and artwork and like feel like these things were like magic, like somebody had magic abilities to like, oh, if you hire them, they can do it so much better than you or something. And lately I've been like so DIY, just doing my own art and making and producing a lot of my own demos, like pretty far. And yeah, I've like been able to let some of that stuff go, which is cool.
And that's a testament. That's to who you are as an artist, because there are still some artists who have no interest in doing that part. And so those people can continue to do that. But if you're someone like yourself, you want to, you get your hands dirty, you learn how to do it. What I'm thinking of, because Cast One, he doesn't like any of the mixing part. He doesn't like doing any of that shit.
Some people enjoy it.
So yeah, he'll have other people do that. But yeah, it sounds like for yourself,
oh no,
it's way more beneficial for you to do it on your own.
I mean, to me, it's like a necessary evil part of it, I guess, to understand it. But I do end up using people, to work on all of it. But I think it's a lot more like I'll really come up with an idea and know what I want. And even when we send something off to mixing, it's like we've done like a really good rough mix and fixed so many little issues, rather than like what I used to do in the past is send it off and kind of like leave the work on them. And now I try to make it like, all right, I'd be happy dropping this as it is. And then if I have somebody available who can mix, like lately it's been my friend Jeremy, who's incredible, and he'll then take it to another level.
Yeah.
And like add things in that I didn't even imagine. So
yeah, you're able to let go, huh? That's cool. That's interesting.
Working on it. Yeah.
I'm such a control freak. I cannot. I've had too many experiences with people in my lifetime that what came out was not at all what I wanted. And it just wasn't as good as what it could have been had I have said, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm doing it this way.
Yeah. Well, for you, I imagine it's like, you do go in with a plan, but you're also like feeling it out.
Feeling is everything for me. Yeah. And I feel like that's the case with a lot of musical artists and artists music I like. It's all about what matters is what you're feeling when you're creating it, in my opinion. But there are some people that, don't. That's fine too.
Yeah.
Well, to date, what are you most excited about, as far as what you've accomplished or what you're accomplishing?
Well, I've set myself up in an interesting scenario for the next few releases. I'm doing this series of mixtapes on cassette, and then a couple songs go on streaming services. And my hope is that over the course of the mixtapes, I can evolve a lot as an artist. And so I'm trying to challenge myself to like do it in real time rather than I have all these things finished and I just need to like drop them and promote or whatever. So it's like the second mixtape really should be done like now, but it's not quite where I want it to be. So I think that I'm excited about that. And also just seeing where I could push the boundaries with like, I don't know if it's a smart business thing or not, some of these ideas I have, but they just feel right to me. So yeah, what I'm putting on cassette is like, there's a ton of rough demos and stuff like straight out of my computer and poetry and like all kinds of things. It's almost like a scrapbook of ideas. And then fans who collect that, it's like, it's awesome. So that's been cool because there are people who really like get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping or going off of what you said, not sure if if it's a smart business decision for you. Have you found in your music career the best things that have happened for you came from a choice that you made because you felt this feels right, or this would be a better decision business wise? Which do you feel which has led you
definitely
to
just feeling right?
Feeling right. Yeah.
Gotta go with your gut.
Yeah, you kind of you do.
We in our business we've gone with our gut. We've lost some money, but you know what? It all turns out.
It does. It works out because then you're do. Oh, sorry, Adrian.
Oh, and we just we enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah,
right.
Whether we're making it or losing it, it's fine as long as we're enjoying. What if you didn't
go with your gut and you still lost the money anyway?
Yeah, been there, done that. I tried. I've lost a lot of money on certain things early on, and when I was part of the decision making was I don't want to sit around and go, what if I did do that and it could have been the big thing. I would rather regret losing some money than not taking the chance.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's good perspective. And I think lately I've been trying to just let go of a lot of that. I don't know, worrying so much about it, and like just trying to have fun with it more, because it's like I've been doing it so long at this point. It's like, what do I have to lose by just being like a little more fast and loose with a style that I'm doing, or where a sample comes from, or whatever. Like I'm just like, I think a little too rigid with those things sometimes.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, even though you uploaded on MySpace, you're young still, my friend.
Thank you.
And it is,
we all are.
A lot of these artists that we have on our show and that are now friends of ours, I mean, these were people, when I was growing up, I'm a huge fan of. Like they changed my life, their music. And one thing I'm discovering, talking with them and every people who've been in the business, like people like Sage Francis, all these people, they've been doing it for so long. They feel, to me, they're in a better place musically because they're writing music like what you're saying, like, what do I got to lose? Like, I don't need to do this thing where I need to reach this mountaintop of fame and financial gain from my art. They're now able to go like, you know what, actually what means something, because that seems so far away now, unless you're like Taylor Swift. I'm not saying people won't make it there, but that's less of the goal. And it's more of, I'm going to make what feels good. I don't know. I wasn't trying to sound preachy, but you were just mentioning that. And I see a lot of my favorite hip hop underground hip hop is out right now.
Yeah. I love Brother Ali's new stuff. Yeah. I think it originally, maybe from his episode on here, I found it, or maybe something on his own podcast, but he's always been great. So I don't know if whatever there has been a creative change or not, but his new stuff sounds amazing. And I know he's like now doing the independent thing. Yeah.
And that was a big move for him, leaving Rhymesayers and like
leaving the country
and leaving the country.
Yeah. He has made big changes, and it probably does show in his music.
Yeah, it's almost like It's almost like he's starting from scratch again. And if you can remember the time when you were first starting out, the music you were making was probably like more exploring and a lot of excitement. When you've been doing something for so long, you tend to kind of just go through the motions.
Yeah, and so many rules pop up and whatever. And it's like, it's at the end of the day, like, this is pretty niche music, so I might as well just have fun.
Yeah, just enjoy yourself. Tell me about these coffee visits with your fans.
Okay, so there's two elements to this. So when I was playing, all right, so you know how there were those big gaps in between albums? Okay. A big part of that too is like I couldn't figure things out business-wise. So I was like, I don't know how to play shows. I don't know how to, do all these things that I feel like an artist should be doing and that I want to be doing, because I would play with, for a while I played with a violinist and a keyboard player, and then a guy who DJ'd, played guitar and trumpet, and he has been the producer and all the new stuff. But long story short, it was kind of hard logistically with everyone's schedule, paying them all that stuff. I was like, man, how do I embrace these being like very small shows and get back to my roots a little bit, which was playing at like all open mics and coffee shop. So what I would do is I would do a show in a city, and these were some of the shows I was opening for Chesky at these, and I would just choose a coffee shop and post the date and time and be like, I'm going to be here. Anybody can come. And then I would get to like hang out with people who listen to my music, and we would take photos and whatever, and just talk like more in a human way. And then they would come see the show at night. And
that's cool.
It was awesome. It just felt like I was able to relieve that, I don't know, all the like kind of clunkiness around like a venue. If like, it's like you have to sell tickets, like there's a transaction, like it just made it a lot more, I don't know, a lot more like what I feel like my music is actually about. It's just like down to earth. So I like that a lot. And then during the pandemic, I of course couldn't do that anymore. So then I started doing them on Zoom, and it actually was like kind of similar to this. And I would do it every Sunday night. I had a sheet I made, like a form, and people would sign up and fill out some questions. And then I would randomly select somebody, and we would talk on Zoom. And one regret I have is I wish I was doing them like publicly. Like this was just like one-on-one Zoom, and like privately, I don't really know what my thought was with that. But I guess I thought I was going to like edit it and post it at some point. But yeah, anyway, so I did them on Zoom, and now I got to bring them back.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's how our show started because of the pandemic.
Doing that in LA, right?
What's up?
You weren't doing all of this, the coffee shops and all of these different things in LA. You weren't there yet. So is that something that you would bring out there?
Yeah,
that
definitely.
You would start doing out there?
Yep, for sure. The tours I've been on lately, it's the only challenge is that it's been like back-to-back shows. So we normally have to wake up and drive at like 7 a.m. So sometimes it's like, I can't do it. Yeah, but my dream would be to do a tour where I have like a week at each city, and I could just like hang out and like meet everybody and stuff.
Well, it's similar to back in the day. They don't really do it all that much anymore, but because they don't exist. But when bands would go on tour, you always stopped off at the radio station. You would do promotions at the radio station. So it's similar to that, where you just do like the coffee shop thing. Well, you have a tour coming up here in the East Coast.
Yeah, tour in December. Yeah,
do you have coffee dates booked for that?
I need to set them up. Yeah, maybe. I think it's cool. Maybe that's the move. I think there's one show. There's 2 shows where we have like one day off in between, so I could probably pull it off then. That tour is going to be interesting because I'm going to be driving the entire time and then also playing. So as long as I can pull it off, I will. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of tours,
wait, are you flying out there then driving? Or are you driving from LA? Oh, okay.
I'm flying out there because my mom still lives around there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we have the segment, the Sage of Social Media Lurk. Unfortunately, it was my fault. I was trying to. We were putting on a show this weekend at our gallery. I got to him too late, and he's he's got some stuff that will be, by the time this episode comes out, will be announced that he's working on. That's kind of got him in all sorts of.
All good, man. I was curious what he might say.
I'll tell you what, I did get to him, and it was going to be about something about an email about some past people he's worked with, an email that he had from you from 2014 or something. But yeah, he just it was my fault because I literally only was able to get in touch with him yesterday. And he's been on the grind.
I probably posted some embarrassing stuff on his like website like 15
No,
years
it was
ago
something to do with some businesses that he worked with. And when he responded to, he was like, "Yeah, I don't know if I want to bring it up, but something funny happened with one of these companies. I don't know exactly what."
Do you want me to be Sage? I'll be Sage. I'll fill in. That time you were on MySpace back in 2009.
No real place.
You uploaded your favorite song. Tell us about it.
No, he did tell me that send his apologies. He just could not get there.
No worries at all. I found some really cool music through that radio show he's been doing.
The Rover.
Rover, ROVR. I could say really Rover, cool. But they don't even announce it Rover. But it's like the perfect thing to call it.
I'm curious for both of you. How did you get into this scene of like underground hip hop?
I've been listening to well, we both have, but hip hop changed was just for everything. I was a rapper back in the day, but not a serious one. I was in bands. But a lot of these MCs and rappers were all fans of my artwork and collected my artwork. And so that's how we were able to like get in touch with people and start having them on the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a graffiti artist for not really, I'm not known for it, but Adrian and I both had a business where we were doing pop art paintings. It was a pretty massive business.
Stencil stuff.
Yeah, stencil stuff.
Wow.
That was the beginning of our career, and that took off. That was a long time ago. Yeah. Like over 20 years ago.
It was during the MySpace days.
It was pre MySpace.
Wow, that's
wild. It was pre MySpace.
It was.
I'm sure your graffiti was amazing. I would love to see that.
Oh, I just tried to do some on our wall in here, and I've lost the touch.
You've refined your pen skills.
I'm all about the pen. Who would be your dream artist to collaborate with?
Ooh. That's a really tough one. I might have to go with Connor Oberst, The Bright Eyes. Songwriting wise, yeah, I'm just a huge fan.
Yeah, I was asking my daughter about them because I don't know much about them, but she really likes them as well.
They're kind of one of those unique bands. I think that like they're a little hard to categorize. So people who know them usually like know everything about them, and then some people it just kind of like skipped that. It didn't really hit them. Yeah.
Where would you be your dream spot to perform?
Maybe Red Rocks, Colorado. Oh. That spot looks crazy. And I mean, I've been there not even to see a show, just kind of walking through it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that venue would be incredible.
Yeah, so great. What would you, is that, so with that being a dream spot for you, what do you, when you have things like that you go like, oh, I would love to do this. Do you actively start going like, hey, what moves do I got to do to make that happen? Or do you have those things where you go like, oh, that would be great, but then it's left there? Did that make sense?
More like the latter. And I don't think it's so much like I lack the motivation or whatever. I think it's more of I'm pretty much like the whole team on everything I do, besides like the creative side. But in terms of like my, all the business stuff, all the admin stuff, like everything is just me. And that's my biggest challenge. And it kind of has been, for a while now, is I just hit a wall in terms of like my bandwidth and what I'm actually able to do. And then also balancing that with like time to write. And lately too, I've been on this kick of like, I don't even care if like some admin stuff falls apart if my writing is not how I want it to be. And I know my writing can be better. So I feel like I should like allow myself to put more time into that. But that's my whole challenge. And I don't know. So a lot of things like tours and stuff, a lot of it, I'm being reactive. Like somebody will be like, hey, do you want to do this or do that? And I just kind of like say yes and do whatever. And I wish I had more time to like go be proactive and seek out collabs I want and seek out shows and all that.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a tough road to navigate because, for the lack of a better term, I'm going to just say product. But if the product isn't good, then there's nothing to have admin for. So you have to focus on what again, for the lack of a better term, product. And that, it makes it tough to navigate. I wish I had answers to that. But just continue grinding.
And even I don't know about you with visual art, but like for me, listening to music is also a big part of it. Like I need to listen to music and just absorb it as like a human being who's trying to create music. Because when I don't, it can get kind of stale. So I'll listen to something, it'll inspire me so much, even something I've been like putting off for a while. So I have to like take time to let in those influences too.
I'm happy to hear that you still use that, because one of the things that I find with a lot of artists is that they don't listen anymore, and I find that to be a real shame, because then where are you getting your inspiration from? I find that in all avenues. People who make movies, they don't watch movies. I'm like, how does that make any sense?
No, the movies one I'm not sure about, because they're like so relaxing to me, and maybe I'd feel different if I worked in film. But with music, I get it, because it's actually like hard for me to do, like to listen to new stuff, especially new rap that I know is gonna challenge me, and I'm gonna be like, oh shit, like there's that type of flow, like now I gotta like be able to do that. And that's just how I am. It's kind of like anything that I hear, I get like a little obsessed with the musicality of it, and I need to be able to flow like that.
Yeah, even though I just said that, I don't look at a whole lot of other people's visual artwork.
No. But you do collect art.
But I collect art. I collect art like a motherfucker. Yeah.
Also, I mean, these conversations, you're getting all kinds of like different inspiration and exposure to other ideas through.
Well, and I just don't I don't look at a lot of contemporaries' artwork, because I don't want it to accidentally find its way into my work. I don't want to accidentally be creating something that a friend of mine or another artist is creating, just subconscious, because I work from my subconscious anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, well, please excuse this interruption. I have a quick announcement. Right here is typically where we'd be going into our dish segment, but we decided we wanted to give you more time with our guest. So we've turned the dish segment into its own episode of bonus content. Tune in next week, same time, same place, for this same guest and their answers to their first, worst, and thirst questions as part of the additional content we call The Dish. Let's get back to tonight's episode. Peace.
All right, the timer had gone off as far as the drawing portion goes. Obviously, cool. I'll get it way more detailed for you.
Man, this is looking awesome.
Let's end out this portion of the show with a Sophie's Choice question and a wrap up of and we'll bring the arc of the episode back down. So the Sophie's Choice question is, which is more of your jam? Owen Wilson and Wes Anderson movies, or Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller movies?
Oh man. I think I would actually have to say Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller movies, but I don't know if either is like 100% me. Probably like somewhere in between, but I've never been like a diehard Wes Anderson guy. I definitely like respect the style and recognize it and everything. And maybe I need to see more of his films, but sometimes it's like too stylistically.
It's super
polarized.
stylistic. Yeah.
It
is very much, you have to be in a particular mood to take it in.
Yeah. I'm more of like a story guy. Like I want like a really good writing in the movie. And that's what will like blow me away.
Yeah. All right. So before we go to your dish questions, let's complete the arc of our discussion. Assuming you'll be living a full, healthy existence, where do you see yourself living out the back nine of your life?
Wow.
That's a long way away, but where would you?
Crazy question. Hard-hitting ending wrap-up question. I would say upstate New York. That's kind of, my dream. I don't know if it'll.
Country.
What's up? Back to
Going
the country?
back to the country.
Yeah, my dream is to have a studio up there that's like separate from my house, or I don't know, maybe part of the house, and just to have everything I need to record and make music in one room and treated walls and all that. And yeah, I think like upstate New York around the Woodstock area or something would be.
Oh yeah. It's interesting that since I've been asking that question, I mean, pretty much everyone's answer is about kind of going back to where they started.
Wow, that is interesting.
Yeah, because lots of people will kind of just want to get out of where they started. Like they just want to leave forever.
Well, they did, and then they're like, actually.
Yeah, but most people don't. I mean, especially as young as Dylan is, he's not. That's that's to know automatically that's where you would want to be.
From the country to the city to LA.
Yeah,
and then you know which one's most comfortable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Rural. Definitely. That word has been, as we're getting ready to go into the dish questions, the word rural has been one of the answers to our question, what's the worst word?
Yeah.
And rural has been the worst word several times.
It was Buck 65.
Oh yeah, Buck 65 said it's the worst word. It is very difficult to enunciate.
Yeah, rural, and I don't even know how to rhyme with it either. Yeah, I watched like half of the Buck 65 episode. I gotta finish it up.
Well, it's like rest. A 4-hour episode. So
it is long. Yeah,
it was a marathon.
I love it. Like this is like I also feel like a lot of the people that you interview, I haven't like seen many interviews that do deep dives of them, and it's so much of the music that I grew up listening to. So it's fascinating to me. Like Buck 65 is like a really mysterious character to me. So that's very cool to see.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's been on one of our favorites for a long
legend.
He is a legend. I feel good about where this drawing is at. I will be drawing on it during the dish questions and adding more. But again, I'll never send out a drawing that I don't feel is completely finished. This is like a third of the way. It's going to get way more detail. I'll add in a few more things. So
I'm loving it.
What's the next move for you personally or professionally?
Next move is, so these mixtape things, I actually wanted to show it on camera.
Yeah, let's see.
So it's a series of 4 cassettes. And so I made this like little, I had these, it's like a milk crate that DJs used to use for vinyl. And you can collect all 4 cassettes with it. So I only finished the first one now, and they're all like hand numbered and everything. So the next mixtapes are what I'm working on creatively now. And yeah, I've kind of like put myself in the hot seat because it's like happening in real time, and
forcing yourself to do it.
Yeah, force myself to do it. And I want to collaborate so much more with people and have people over here and record and all that. So yeah.
What do you have do you have like a schedule or a time frame for the mixtapes, or you just for sure it's 4 and they come out when they come out?
Well, about once a month or once every like 5 or 6 weeks, I release one song, and that's kind of like the schedule I'm sticking with. And then each mixtape is only going to be like 3 to 5 songs.
Okay.
So naturally, I think the whole thing will be like a year and a half, 2 years around there. And I could always like speed it up or something. And then I want to show this too. I made this so when you get this, it comes with this little manual, which I made. That's like how to listen to the mixtape. And it's kind of like a mix of like cheeky language and then like scientific language. And
that's fun.
These are
It
like when I
is.
say I do Photoshop stuff, this is like the kind of thing I'm talking about. So it's, I guess, going deeper into like these like weird little creative
That's
projects.
good.
Yeah, I love it. I always wanted to do a zine when I was growing up. I always wanted to come out with some sort of zine or something. I never, but back then I didn't have the ability to do it. Now I don't have the time.
I think I mentioned my zine in my DMs with you, but that was another thing that this is something I put together like with fans where they send in like poetry and stuff.
Oh, cool.
So cool.
And then sometimes they'll send in like a design, or sometimes I'll make a design. And I'll write like little essays in here too that just like I don't have another place for. So these are, we've done 3 of those so far.
Yeah.
Where do people submit?
Those are cool.
Where do people submit for that?
Just DylanOwenmusic.com/zine.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And that's where, and so, so as we're wrapping out here, how do you prefer people to get your music, get your merch? What's the preferred method for people to take on what you're putting out?
A good place, especially if you've never heard of me, maybe just Spotify. And I would say probably start with the EP, There's More to Life. That's a good like example of the sound. And so I'd say Spotify first. And also if you just go to my website, DylanOwenmusic.com, old school style, you can find everything there. Like I try to make it as organized as possible.
It's very organized.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's easy to navigate. And I like you mentioning they can check you out on Spotify. That way they're not heavily invested right off the bat. This is for people who haven't heard. And they can go there, they can hear it, and then they go, "Oh, I like this." And then you can deep dive into Dylan Owen.
Yeah, I've got a ton of YouTube videos and all that. It's a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Well, thanks so much for spending your time with us, man. It was a delightful chat with you.
Absolutely.
And, good for you, man. I'm glad that you're seeing success with your music. You're a phenomenal writer. I look forward to continuing checking in on what's happening with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, great talking with you both. I love this, and the drawing looks amazing. So I can't wait to reshare it, and amazing. Yep.
Cool. Thanks so much, Dylan. Man, it was absolutely wonderful hanging with you.
Nice to get to know you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
Okay.
All right.
Peace.
Thanks, y'all.
No first aid kit needed. Put on my mic, I just bleed. I think I'm sick of this climate. It rained on all of my dreams, but I saw a ghost through mothbite clothes. He haunts me when I sleep. 2 fingers to the western sky, I'm waving them like.
Hey, there you go, everybody. Thanks, Mr. Dylan Owens. Now that he says Dylan Thomas,
lovely.
I keep wanting to say Dylan Thomas now. Yeah, I figured it was going to be the case. I figured you don't do what you do like that, where he's out there with fans and meeting people, doing that thing. You're not pulling that off if you're not a good person. You know what I mean? So, a nice chat with him, and seriously, that's how I discovered him. I saw him through Chesky, and then I would just check in on him. I check in on some of the whatever he's doing, or I'd check out his page, and I'm happy to see him doing his thing. I love when artists are honest about I'm doing this on my own. I'm grinding it out. Cool perspective. I know it's not 18 years old, but to someone my age, he's a young man.
You didn't feel like you were a young man at 33.
Didn't I? Did I already feel like I was old? I felt old when I was 9. Like I said, I don't know if I've mentioned on the show, but I think when I was 11, I was hanging out. When I was 10.
Oh yeah, you were hanging out with the.
He was 16 years old. Yeah, I was hanging out with a 16-year-old. We were going in his car. I think at 11, I was already smoking cigarettes. I was basically an adult already.
That's what happens when you hang out with adults as a child.
It's true. It's so true. Hey, everybody, before you sign off, before you check out of here, if you're first time watchers of our show, if you're coming from Dylan Owen's audience and your first time here, we wrap up with some suggestions or some recommendations and a little bit of banter, but the episode is not over until you hear final words from our final word guru, Blacklick. So the episode is not over until you've heard Blacklick's final words. All right, here's the finished drawing below. Created based off of things that Dylan Owens is a fan of. A Komodo Dragon does not bend in that direction. They can stand up on their hind legs, but their neck doesn't bend forward like that.
No one cared.
And also a beluga whale could not survive in a balloon,
And would probably sink the balloon.
I didn't realize that they were whales. They're very dolphin-y like.
Yeah.
But they're kind of adorable, but weird looking.
No, they're sweet. Don't you remember that one we saw at the Puget Sound?
I do. Yeah.
Not in that aquarium over there in Tacoma.
Yeah.
Tacoma's aquarium or zoo. It was really sad. That little area it had to swim was really sad.
Yeah. It seemed like that time that we saw that rhino walking in circles.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the zoo.
Yes.
Well, so there's the drawing. All right, everybody. If you like this drawing, or if you like any of the drawings I've done in the past, you can buy prints of them. All the guests, they get the original drawing, but I do have prints available of them. You can get them at DOD45.com or ArtByTai.com. Any of the past ones. We also have DOD45 stickers now. So if you order a print of a DOD45, I'll send you a DOD45 sticker. I'll be getting those around to people for you to share. They're probably going to be in the merch bags, Mr. Dibs merch bags. I'm not at liberty to announce what those are, though when this episode comes out, it's already been announced.
What about for the Christmas episode, people?
Yeah.
Live audience?
Yeah,
people?
we'll do that as well. If you're new to the show, welcome. Thank you. Glad you joined us. Thanks to our guest, Dylan Owen. All right, let's get into some recommendations and let's get out of here.
Oh shit! I don't think I did anything.
That's okay. You'll figure it out by the time I finish my thing. Here's my movie recommendation is a movie called Affliction. That's a movie from 1997, folks. That's how old I am.
Affliction is being hailed by critics as a film of startling intensity. Performances by Nick Nolte and Sissy Spacek go for the jugular, says the New York Times. Entertainment Weekly calls it Paul Schrader's best movie yet. And John Powers of Vogue magazine raves, a beautiful, harrowing film, perhaps the best performance of Nolte's career.
This movie stars Nick Nolte, Sissy Spacek, James Coburn, and Willem Dafoe. It is a thriller, a drama. It's really kind of a depressing, dark, but it's really, really good movie. It takes place in in the small New Hampshire town. Nick Nolte is a washed-up police officer, a washed-up cop. He's got a troubled past, an abusive father that's played by James Coburn, a contemptful ex-wife, and an unimpressive streak as a lawman. He learns about this businessman's accidental death during a hunting trip. Speaking of, in Dylan Owen's thing about being out there in the forest. Yeah. Hunting accidents happen all the time. Anyway, Nick Nolte's character believes that he has a chance to turn around his life if he can prove that this accidental hunting death was actually a murder. He becomes obsessed with it and then begins to lose his composure during the investigation. It's a really, 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 really good movie. Well acted, though I haven't watched it for a very long time. I've been noticing when I go back to watch some of these old movies, acting was very different. Not people just weren't as good as they are now. Like if you watch old 20s movies, say, like there's a specific kind of acting. But Nick Nolte was such a terrific actor, and there are some scenes in this movie where he gets in fights with James Coburn, and he yells and he's frothing at the mouth, and it's a really good movie. But again, it is depressing, but it's so good. In fact, it was one of the movies that inspired my movie Darkroom. So give that if you're into checking out old movies. That's one I think you should go look. Affliction.
You take your ass home.
Adrian, you have a song share?
Just 1 second.
Okay. Well, here's my song share while Adrian's trying to figure out her song share. My song share is a song called Painting by Thorts and Swordplay.
Rule of apart the pieces of this puzzle, try to put it back together my own way. Just another bloke that struggles, cannot function, can't correct his focus or go stray. Home is where you make it, where you roam naked till you can't fake it, fall from grace. Ran from many places with my sturdy A6, wore many faces, all in vain. Shoot it up like a western.
It's a cool song. Yeah, I've been telling.
Good old
every once in a while, I message with Thorts. And for those of you who don't know, Thorts is out there in Australia.
Down there
in Australia. He's been a guest on our show. Go back and watch that episode if you ever get a chance. He's got some... I discovered Thorts through Chesky, right? Chesky's a good place to discover...
We discovered
Thorts.
I can't say thought.
Okay, don't get caught.
I can't be Australian.
Don't get bogged down with it.
I think he messaged me.
I don't know. I thought he's on this great song with Chesky too. And yeah, anyway, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But it does matter. But it doesn't right now. Point is, the song is called Painting. A really good song. I really, really, really enjoy it. And so there you go. Speaking of Chesky Ramos, a fake 4. He's got a song share, and that song is called Glad to Be Alive by Brooke Pridemore.
Back in 1995, when I was only learning how to drive, it took a while to know for sure what the pedal on the left was for.
And thank you, Chesky, for being part of our song share segment. Adrian, what's your song share?
I'm gonna go for like the old song, way old. I think
I went with a very old movie, 1997.
It's coming from the 70s.
Oh, cool!
It's The Specials, Ghost Town.
Awesome. The song is
Ghost Town
by The Specials.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Okay.
Great song share.
Got that done.
Go subscribe to the DOD45 song share playlist. It's called DOD45 Loves, LUVS. That's got all the music that we've shared in past episodes, all the music that we recommend to check out. If you like any of those songs in that playlist, please consider supporting the artists financially who made the music. You can play that playlist anywhere. If you have a coffee shop, if you have a gallery, if you have any of those, or if you just like to listen to different kind of music, just listen to the whole playlist. It's all really, really good music. All right. That's it. That's it for us. Thanks again for joining us on the show. Join us for the Dish episode of Dylan Owen, where he shares answers to his first worsts and thirsts. Things like the first time he got grounded, which, spoiler alert, his family didn't do the whole kind of grounding thing. But you also get to learn what he thinks is the worst movie and his favorite way to have a coffee. Be sure to pick up Dylan's music at DylanOwenmusic.com, or as he said, you can just check him out on Spotify first. And then if you like it, venture off into more at DylanOwenmusic.com. He's got his new mixtapes coming out, 4 new mixtapes. A really brilliant idea to do that. I like that. The cool little crate. That's a great way to do it. Yep. Yeah, it's a great way to release music. And that's the things that artists have to do these days, is kind of new little ways to release music. So good on him for that. Right now, he's got 1 mixtape out. The next 3 will be coming out in the days ahead. So keep your eye out for that. And hey, tell everybody, join us in the live chats, you guys. It's a fun place to hang out and live chat. I'm going to keep trying to push that. Because when we turn up to the live chat and people aren't in there, I'm like, bummer. What were you going to say?
But if you can't do it, that's fine.
It is fine. But quit being a dickhead. Thanks for watching our show. Thanks for supporting my art. That's us done, right?
Yep.
Okay, from all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy drawing, happy conversing. Thanks for spending your time with us. Please tell your friends and family about the DOD45 show and have a terrific weekend. That's episode end. And those are my final words, but now marinate on these final words from Black Myth.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah, I got some last words. Envy is a projection of insecurity. You know, people are always going to want what you have, even if you ain't got it. They'll convince themselves. They'll be like, yeah, I know that this person has this thing, and I can get this thing from them, but I can only get it from them because it's right there. I can see it, and I can do that. I'm better than them. You know, all this internalized strife, I guess, or this conversation that happens for people, it's just a representation of a thing where they feel that they're lacking. Sometimes people will want you to give what they envy you for to them. Other times, they'll scheme on you to try to finesse and finagle you out of that shit. Just like this train right now in the background is competing with me to talk to y'all. See, the whole thing is that projected behavior is always going to be something that comes from someone. We're not going to get that from the universe, and the best gifts you get in life come from the universe. Talent is divine, but you have to work on it and work through it and work with it to develop it. That's when you turn talent into a skill. And when you put talent and skill together, motherfuckers will envy you quick because they don't want to put in the work. It's like credit. It takes time to turn debt into opportunity.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
DOD45. Thank you for joining in on yet another episode of the DOD45 Show. Please hit the subscribe or follow button so that you never miss an episode. You can even go one step further by leaving us a review on the YouTube stream or on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever it is that you stream our show from. You can find me at ArtByTai on all the socials or at ArtByTai.com. And if you'd like to follow the DOD45 Show on social media, we're at DOD45W on Instagram, or you can go over to our website at DOD45.com where you can shoot us an email, join our mailing list, and watch all of our past episodes. Consider joining us for a live chat on the YouTube premieres of episodes every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Peace.